And Carl from WATP, our last gig before Thanksgiving and the big holiday season starts. How you doing, Carl?
Uh-oh. Hang on.
Oh, boy.
Oh, doing great start.
Fuck is it? Try it now?
Check.
There
1,
it
2.
is. All right.
There
Sorry,
we go.
my fault. Carl, what's going on?
Awesome, Drew. I'm so excited. My name made it into the ad copy. That's fantastic.
How about that?
That was cool. So I'm listening to your guys' show from yesterday. I was watching live on YouTube Monday morning too, and I love Gary Hoey. Every time he's on the show, I always think he's great.
He is great.
I have to ask you, because I was getting blue balls from this, what is Gary Hoey's most streamed holiday song? Because you wanted to tell him, and he just like filibustered after that.
I think
It was Grinch.
It's got to be Mr.
Grinch.
Grinch.
I looked it up. It was Grinch.
Yeah, because he does jam. He jams on that. I think
Because I knew you wanted to tell him that. You're like, do you know what your most streamed song is? He goes, well, it's probably this or this or this. He goes through the whole list. And I'm like, no, let Drew tell him the answer.
No, I'm glad someone was keeping track and held me to that because I never did mention it. But yeah, Gary's great. What a player. And that'll be a great show at the Magic Bag. As you guys know, great place to play. And so, Carl, you've obviously been looking around for podcasts featuring Corey Feldman after the Harlan Highway.
Yes, and Corey did a show just last month called Toon'd In Podcast, and it's TOON''D, because the host is Jim Cummings. If you don't know who Jim Cummings is, he's a voice actor, best known probably for Winnie the Pooh. He does all the characters on Winnie the Pooh, but he's been involved in a lot of Disney, Lion King, Darkwing Duck, a lot of different things you would know him from. He's a very talented voice actor.
Why do you think he's doing a podcast?
He's bored. I would imagine. I don't know. He's got nothing else to do, I would imagine. I don't know.
Did you feel as bad for him as I did while the podcast was going on?
Yeah. So there's a number of times where it seems like he's not good at this.
No.
And Corey kind of forces the conversation. In fact, if you want to start with my my second clip here, number 2, this is where it kind of seems like Jim doesn't know what to talk about next, so Corey decides that he's going to insert his career into the conversation.
Yes.
Right.
Evening things
You're
out.
never nice to anybody
That's
anymore,
not.
right?
No, I'm all stuck
Figured
up.
you did it all.
That's
you
right.
Got it out of the way.
Good enough.
There you go.
Oh man. Well,
Just
that's
like the
great.
Goonies.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Hey, wait a minute. Was that a segue?
Bum, ba-dum, bum,
You've done
bum.
this before.
Hey, I might have been on an interview here or there.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, you have. You know, well, The Goonies, I think it was one of the coolest movies.
Thank you.
I mean, everybody in it
Debate.
went from being child star to movie star.
Oh, Carl. Poor Jim. He just gets, it happens over and over. And Corey has so many references that are kind of obtuse that I don't think Jim gets. And Jim's like, oh, yeah, sure. I know who that is. In fact, maybe you have this in a clip when Corey references on the 34th anniversary of doing this stupid song with Mickey Thomas from Starship that they recut it. And Jim thinks he said that this guy is 7 years old, but he's actually saying that Mickey Thomas is 70. So Jim has no idea who he's talking about, obviously.
Right. So what Corey Feldman's talking about is his box set, of course, and we'll get more into that. But he's talking about how he got Mickey Thomas from Starship to come in and sing this track that they had done years ago. And so, yeah, my track number 4, it's clear that Jim's very confused.
And I got Mickey to perform. I produced it. So I got Mickey to I was like, you might have to grab your, what?
Yeah.
Get it up there. But, sometimes you got to, do what it takes to get that note. But, but I was, he's 70 years old. He's 70 years old. And he sounded like he was 20. I mean, I was blown away. So cool. 70.
70. Oh, thank you. I feel.
No. 7. I
we
went
talking about the same guy.
No.
That's amazing.
Yeah. 70 years old.
It is amazing you're not listening.
Yeah, and that 34th anniversary, what a huge anniversary for Dream a Little Dream.
Right. And Drew will tell you that at this point in the conversation, Corey is throwing so much at him that I don't think anyone would be able to pay attention this long and be like, okay, what are we talking about now? Because as soon as they got into the box set, and if you want to play my third clip, number 3 here, this is where he starts doing his sales pitch to go buy the box set.
So this disc is or the box, I'm sorry, is a 4-disc set with CDs, 4 CDs, 2 DVDs. We made a documentary about the process of making the album, the process of making the collection.
Wow.
We put together a 50-page color magazine that looks like a teen magazine from the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Oh God.
Oh, whoa.
Wow, huh.
All I was thinking was, it's a box set about a box set. It reminds me of like a coffee table book about coffee tables. Yeah.
Can you believe the trouble that Corey taught him? He goes on and on. First of all, it took him only 11 minutes and 35 seconds to get to the box set in this podcast, which is ridiculous. But then he goes on and talks about how, oh yeah, the tapes had to be baked because the magnetics or something. It puts everything back in place, and he's going on. It's like you're thinking these must be 50 unreleased Beatles songs that have been found for all the technical trouble they go to sell 100 box sets or so. I mean, it's so insane.
It reminded me of the documentary on Max about Now and Then, where they're talking about the technology behind it. I guess Don Dokken was
Yes.
the guy that reached out. And again, this is where he's going, you know Don Dokken, right? And Jim's like,
No, he does not know Don Dokken.
Oh my God.
yeah. So he's
like, oh, of course.
Docken's got this oven, and then he was describing the tape, and he goes on and on about how it's living and breathing, and it's a real thing, and it dies over time. You have to put it back together. I'm like, none of this is true. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But yeah, like you said, all of a sudden, like there's all these magnets, and then they find their way back into the tape, and then they extract that digitally, and they're able to recreate these amazing tracks from 1987 that no one had ever heard for this box.
Yeah, that they didn't even put out in 1987.
That
He
no
actually,
one wants. No one wants it though.
Carl, didn't he say something like, the fans have been screaming for these songs? It's like, no, they haven't.
Finally, the fans get to hear these songs from 1989 or whatever soundtrack he thinks they were on. Oh, that's what he said too. He goes, I wrote songs for 6 or 7 different soundtracks, and they used the songs in the movie, but they didn't put them on the soundtrack. How often does that happen? Don't they put songs in the soundtrack that aren't even in the movie usually?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Must have been
That
terrible
tells you
songs.
something. Yeah, that tells you something right there.
I have to tell you, too, the whole thing, because I've heard Corey tell the story about the box set a few times now, it makes me feel sorry for Don Dokken every time he tells the story. Doesn't Don Dokken have something better to do
No.
than bake tapes for Corey Feldman?
You would think so. Okay, so he's talking to one of the best character actors, voiceover guys of all time. And so
Yeah.
Corey starts off by talking about how he started doing that at the age of 4. If you play my track number 1, this is the Corey Humble brag.
Well, I started doing voices when I was 4, working for Disney.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't
I started
realize,
it
huh?
when I was 5, but
You did?
I was working on, walking or,
Oh,
it's like,
okay.
and working for Disney.
I'm like,
I didn't
really?
know that.
You didn't?
Come
So
on.
I love that Corey thinks everyone should know his career inside.
Oh,
out.
yes.
You didn't know
You didn't?
that I was on Fox and the Hound in 1981? I played the baby hound. How do everyone knows that? Like, no, I didn't know that either.
And also, Corey cries every time he sees the Fox and the Hound.
What?
Right.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because he was so great. And that was his that was his impersonator or character voice or something. It's like, you were just playing a hound. You were a kid. He was just doing his regular voice.
Correct. He's 4. So it's funny because in that clip you saw Jim go, "Yeah, I didn't know that you did that." Later on, we're talking about Corey's music, and it seems like Jim shuts this down immediately because he doesn't want to talk about it. This is my 7th clip here where Jim's talking about how he's a musician. He plays drums, and Corey does.
Corey does too.
apparently.
That's the verdict. Corey immediately said, "Oh yeah, I do too."
So what do you play?
Sing. Well, I play drums.
Oh, you do?
But in that
I play
band,
drums too.
I know.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
That's how you dismiss that conversation right there. I play drums too. Oh, I know. And just FYI, everyone plays drums.
Oh my God, ridiculous. I couldn't stop feeling sorry for Jim. It was everything. Every time Jim got a little spotlight, Corey would take it away. Corey starts doing voices. This guy's the greatest voice guy ever. One of the best.
I'm going to probably close with some of that stuff because
Okay.
it's so funny. But
No, it's great.
First off, it is so funny that he keeps trying to do these voices. He does. I didn't even pull the clip, but he does a horrible Arnold impression. I'm like, oh, this is so embarrassing.
Oh, he's impersonating the Beatles. No, it was awful.
Yeah, it's so bad. So for some reason, and again, this is on Jim Cummings just not being great at this. They're talking about they first met at the Playboy Mansion many years ago. And so we're talking about at the Playboy Mansion. This is my fifth clip here. Corey mentions that he, I just lost my notes. Corey mentions that he met Richard Pryor there.
Yep.
Yes.
And he's all excited about that. And I don't know what Jim is talking about here.
I was more excited about like Richard Pryor being there and Dudley Moore. and, like,
Okay, I would have been too.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. I got to
especially
see-
Richard Pryor. Oh my
I
God.
got to meet Richard. I got to meet Dudley Moore. All the greats, you know.
Richard Pryor is the king of the world, if you ask me.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
brilliant.
Nobody. There's Richard Pryor, and then everybody else can fight for second place.
Right.
But,
I mean,
you know.
and
He's the king of the world. There's Richard Pryor, and everyone else can fight for second place. Is he the funniest comic? Did you like his movies? What do you mean he's the king of the world? Like, it doesn't even make, there's so much celebrity ass kissing throughout this entire episode.
I'm not sure Jim really knows who Richard Pryor is. Do you suppose?
Right, the way he says that, it doesn't sound like he has any reference to it at all.
No, Corey just has to top him in every way. I mean, he brings up comedy and oh my God, that whole thing about how he was at the Comedy Store every night as a kid. He would have been a kid. I mean,
Yeah.
there should have been some whopper police on this one because Corey was just unfurling whoppers all over the place.
Should it be labeled a one-upper? Is he a one-upper?
He's a one-upper, big time. Yeah, even doing voices.
I have not heard Corey talk about his comedy career like he did on this episode. But he's talking all about how he used to hang out at the Comedy Store with Sam Kinison, who loved him like a brother, and Pauly Shore, who loved him like a brother. Everyone loves Corey Feldman. They want him around. It sounds plausible. So, in my track number 6 here, this is Corey talking about how he used to go to the Comedy Store every night, and he saw Milton Berle. And Milton Berle is in his 90s. He's an old man, but he was still killing it.
I was more excited about like Richard Pryor being there and Dudley Moore. and, like,
Okay, I would have been too.
Yeah.
Wait. Is this the same one?
I got to
especially
see-
Richard Pryor. Oh my
I
God.
got to meet Richard. I got to
Oh
meet
shoot! Did I not save the right?
That's
did I
labeled
save
number
the same
6, yeah.
File twice.
That's all right.
So he tells this Milton Berle joke that he says is this really funny joke. The joke was, I had Taco Bell today, and I was so gassy that Arabs were chasing me down the street. And I went, that's the joke that you remembered from Milton Berle's set? That's not
I
a
know.
good joke.
And by the way, I can't picture Milton Berle doing an hour at the Comedy Store in the 1990s. That just sounds preposterous to me.
Yeah, it sounds crazy. So now we're talking about the act that Corey had. And Corey, after they go into, Corey says that Paul McCartney is one of his favorite singers, and he goes into his Paul McCartney impression, and it's so bad. Everyone can do a Paul McCartney except for Corey Feldman for some reason. So what's great about my track number 10 is that Corey starts doing his impression, and then you hear Jim Cummings nail it.
Yes.
Jim actually knows how to
totally.
do all the Beatles perfectly, but that doesn't stop Corey from trying.
No.
and McCartney. I mean, to me, McCartney has the greatest rock and roll voice in the history of rock and roll.
Yeah.
Because he gets that growl.
He can get pretty.
Right.
And he can get long,
so
tall
soft
Sally.
and pretty, you know, so lovely, really.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Yeah. Well, there's the other one.
Oh, well, I suppose you could do John, you know, if I was
I
doing
don't
Paul.
think so.
Oh, I think you could. I think we could go all day. We could have a bit of
We
a
could go all
conversation
day.
about
And one
it.
of my favorite is, that's not your grandfather. I've seen your grandfather. Your grandfather lives in your house. That was
Right.
George Harrison from Hard Day's Night, I think.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. That's right.
No, you don't.
Oh,
Well, that's
that's
the other
not
one.
your grandfather at all.
Yeah. Who's that little old man then? When? Then.
right.
Oh, he totally nailed it.
God, Corey, shut the fuck up.
So the best part about this is after that, the payoff is Corey says, in my stand-up act, I used to do this bit where I'd have all 4 Beatles having a conversation. I went, oh, well, that probably sucked.
Where's that at? I want to see that.
I
Carl,
would love to see that.
I had so many problems. This is where I felt like Corey was she's lying. He's telling ridiculous stories. He said he was going to do stand-up and that ABC sent a news crew.
Right. Yeah. And also, did you hear who he was doing stand-up with? He was between
Dennis Miller and Rodney Dangerfield.
Rodney Dangerfield.
What? There's no way that happened. His first stand-up, he's between those two, and ABC sending a news crew. That just, oh my God. And then he got on, I don't know if you have this in a cut, but his bit, the Walter Cronkite bit.
Yeah, I don't have the cut of that.
Okay,
but,
well, yeah, he said he did what his best bit at the time, and I so wish he was on a lie detector. He said he did Walter Cronkite interviewing Reagan, Muhammad Ali, and Michael J. Fox.
Oh my God.
That just sounds awful.
Stupid.
And it's crazy because this whole show, he's trying to do these voices and impressions because this other guy can do it really well. And it just shows how bad he is at this. So if that was his stand-up routine, was impressions and voices, I can't imagine anyone was enjoying it.
No, I'd never heard of him doing stand-up before, ever. And I've heard a lot about Corey Feldman, especially in the last couple of months.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, I mean, he sounds like he was destined to do stand-up. He had an animated book that he drew when he was 6 of Rodney Dangerfield making faces and jokes, which is, what 6-year-old would do that? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he was basically describing a flip book that he made. he called it an animated book. And he said, what I would do is I would have Dangerfield doing the different faces as he's telling the joke, and you have the bubble up telling the joke. Like, there's no way
No.
that was any good at all. There's just no way. But he was trying to prove how big a fan he was, 6-year-old Rodney Dangerfield fan.
A 6-year-old that into Rodney Dangerfield? I mean, when he was 6, I'm not even sure Rodney Dangerfield had really made his comeback yet, or was probably close.
Right. So I think that obviously Corey has a different idea of his talents and his life than everyone else.
Yes.
It's very evident in the way he describes his music. And I love when he talks about how all of his songs are a different character that he's playing. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, yeah, they're all Michael Jackson.
So no, definitely not. So listen to this. This is what's great about this interview, because Corey always wants to push the fact he's a musician, he's touring. This is what he's doing now. He doesn't realize he's sitting next to a guy who's way more accomplished at music than he is. So it's funny because Corey goes, "Oh, you're a musician?" And so Jim's just like, "Yeah, I am." And my track number 8, you could hear some of his accomplishments here.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I had no idea that you had such a musical background.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, well, I lucked out. I was very fortunate. I'm a fairly good mimic, and I'm a half decent singer.
Right.
So
That's how I started too, imitating other people's voices.
Oh yeah. And then if you do it badly, then they think it's you.
Right.
So that works out. But no, I've got like, I don't know, a Lion King album. I think it was 7 times platinum, and I sing a song called "Be Prepared."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're supposed to think it's Jeremy Irons.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that was me.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, and I would.
Well, you did a
remember,
great job, because I did think it was Jeremy.
Well, that was the idea.
Yeah. You did a great imitation.
Yeah, but and I was the lead singer for the California Raisins. I don't know if you remember them.
Yes,
Whoa.
of course.
Ooh, I bet you want him. And I was still white.
I love how Corey wants everyone to know his bio, but he doesn't care to know anyone else's bio.
Oh, poor
Isn't that hilarious? This is the lead singer of the California Raisins.
That's
Yeah, it's a
awesome.
big deal.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Best
amazing.
version of Grapevine there is.
No, the best parts of the podcast was really when Jim was talking about what he does, which was very rare because he was focusing on Corey, but he was working his ass off to stay interested in what Corey was talking about, because Corey just barfs up his entire career. You don't even need an interviewer, really, do you?
No, and every time that Jim would bring something like this up, Corey had to make it about him. And you could tell that Corey was starting to feel like, oh shit, I guess I'm not as accomplished as this guy is. And that was really telling when he goes, if you can imitate someone and sing like them. And of course, like, that's what I do. Like, yeah, no, we know. We all know that. So the follow-up to this is my last clip on here, track number 9. And this is really funny because Corey immediately has to talk about singing for animation as well, because obviously that's what Jim does. And so Corey has to send out, get his resume out there, obviously.
I've always wanted to do singing animation. I would love to do more of that, actually.
Yeah.
It's fun. I did one.
I'll put in a good word for you.
Well, thank you, sir. But no, I did one that was for Warner Brothers Animation. It was called The Scarecrow, and it was a good one, actually. And I played the mouse. I played a field mouse that lived in his pocket. And
that's
there was like 3 or 4 songs in that one. And so I got to do, I love singing in character. It's so much fun.
Oh, I agree.
Oh my God, I love it.
I agree.
And if you listen to my music, like on my albums, no 2 songs sound the same ever.
Oh.
Like it's always a different character that comes out, depending on what we're talking about or what the theme is or what
Sure.
the material. But the point is that like there's always. I try to bring like a new voice, a new character, something new to,
that's
to
cool.
each song, so it doesn't sound like the same guy over and over and over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Trying so hard to be interested in this. Now, Brandon, I was watching you for your reaction to this. Do you think that no 2 Corey Feldman songs sound alike?
I've listened to many of Corey tunes in my day, and although Ascension Millennium and The Comeback King are 2 wildly separate songs, I think that I would know as soon as I heard the lyrics that it was Corey Feldman singing. I think they sound pretty similar. They got the Michael Jackson-esque.
They all sound the same.
Terrible.
They all sound like shit.
They suck.
Yeah.
I can't believe the tapes were baked
Come on,
to
The
save
Comeback King
these
is pretty.
songs.
Comeback King's pretty good.
The Comeback King is a bit of an earworm, but Corey did announce, I don't want to steal your thunder, Carl, Corey's big announcement at the end of the show about his music.
I didn't get that far.
Oh, you didn't get that far?
I'll be honest with you.
Corey, we know, as you know, as we all know, Corey's toured the U.S. 10 to 12 times. He is going on his first world international tour.
Really?
Wow.
And he announced that he is going not only to England, but to the UK, which I thought was the same place. I swear to God, he said that. Then he said, and then Europe, Asia, Australia, Canada, and hopefully Latin America. And I'm like, what is the financing for this? I mean, somebody has to pay for all the travel, the musicians. I can't believe they can sell enough tickets to justify even a United States tour, let alone a world tour.
And listen, I told you, Drew, and we've talked about it before. I am going to see him if he comes anywhere near me. If he comes to Detroit, I am flying there. I can't wait to see him live. And I think that there are probably a few dozen people just like me who will go see him perform anywhere he plays.
I would too.
But there's no way he's selling out in Europe. There's no way that's worth his time.
I can't believe anyone would book him in Europe. That seems...
No, he's going on vacation. He's going to try and do a few gigs.
I don't know. That's really strange. He also told a Sly Stallone story at the end. Did you stick around for that, Carl, or were you gone?
Well, I remember him talking about how in Lost Boys, he was doing a Sly Stallone impression, which I didn't realize. But the director told him to act like a tough guy in Lost Boys.
Oh.
And so he was doing Sylvester Stallone, and then he got to meet Sylvester Stallone, and he told him that he was doing his impression in that movie. I remember that movie. It doesn't sound like Sylvester Stallone at all.
No, I didn't think so.
Well, Corey told a ridiculous story at the end where he and this friend of his, who, by the way, is dead, but he's a great character actor. His name was Brian James, I think. I never heard of this guy. But Corey just goes on all these tangents. Anyway, the bottom line is he's going to, I guess, hang out with Sly Stallone, which I thought was totally weird because of the age difference. And this would have been in the early 90s. And he's waiting for Stallone, who's getting a massage. And Stallone comes down, and this woman is cutting these lemons. And so Stallone's like, this is just going to take a minute. And this woman, he leans his head back, and this woman squeezes lemons into Stallone's eyes, which of course makes him cry terribly. And he says, it's great for the eyes. It gets the yellow out of your eyes. And then he ran into Stallone. They hung out the rest of the day, and everything was great. He runs into him 30 years later, which would have been a couple years ago. And Stallone tapped him on the back and said, "Hey, Corey, how you doing?"
No, he didn't.
And no, I know. This was, again, another whopper.
No, he didn't. Yeah.
And Corey said, "Hey, I'm doing fine. Man, I'll never forget you squeezing lemons." And Sly goes, "Well, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't work." And then, of course, big laugh from Corey.
Oh, my God.
Because I guess Sly thought Corey might have been doing it all these years. I know, it's the dumbest fucking
Can
story.
someone ask Stallone about that story?
I wish.
Yeah.
There's no way. Why would he be going to hang out with? Why would Stallone want to hang out with Corey Feldman? It was just preposterous.
I was looking for Corey doing stand-up and doing his 4 Beatles, and instead I ran into. Have you ever seen him cover Why Don't We Do It in the Road?
Yeah, we played that
Did you
once
play
on
that
the show.
one?
It's
Okay.
awful.
It's
but-
terrible.
Yeah,
It's
it's
terrible.
ridiculous that he would even attempt it. Is preposterous.
Better than his Imagine, though.
Oh yeah, he does Imagine too. Yeah, he does a funky version of Imagine. Have you heard that, Carl?
No, I've not.
That's
Would you
worth
like
it.
to?
That's worth a quick
Yeah.
listen.
All right, let me find it.
check it out.
He also does Oh Darling. Did you listen to that one?
I did not hear that, but the fact that he funkified Imagine is somewhat impressive.
Well, his
and
Lennon
ridiculous.
impression was so spot on. I imagine it's going to be pretty good.
Let's see.
Not understanding the message here. He's really complicating what this song is about.
Yeah, I missed the point a little bit.
Yeah, whoops.
Did you bring any more cuts today, Carl?
I did, because a big thing happened to Stuttering John yesterday.
Oh, no, what happened?
I thought you'd be excited about
Okay,
this.
I admit I watched Stuttering John's show yesterday.
Good.
And I was blown away because he was getting shit for not going after Patrick Melton, who does, what's his show, Nobody Likes Onions?
Correct, yes.
He blasted John's kids, which is, of course, the worst thing in the world you can do to John. And John didn't respond. And so John said that he was taking your advice that he should just not give it life by paying attention to it.
Right. John calls me out all the time for talking about his family and his kids. I never do. John brings up his kids all the time. I never say anything about them. Melton talks about the one who transitioned and goes into details about it, is very rude about it. And John pays no mind to that, but is still mad at me. And then when people call him out for that, because it's very hypocritical, he goes, well, no, I'm just following Carl's advice, which, since when has he followed my advice?
Exactly.
Following Carl's advice and just ignore it.
Lady
and move
K.
on. Yeah. So
No,
that was hilarious.
he must have repeated that 6 times, and he played clips from Point Dabble Point. He replayed the same clip like 3 times. He has no idea what he's doing. He's not even playing clips. He's just like landing in the show where he thinks he wants to hear the part, and then he goes forward. He doesn't even cut clips.
Oh God.
You know why I didn't finish the show today when we were listening to Toon'd In, is because I was so distracted. John was playing my video on his show today of me making fun of Opie. And what John does is he plays me say 3 words in a row, and then he pauses it and repeats those 3 words with a dumb accent.
John.
And I think that's what's goofing on me. It's so stupid. I can't stop watching. I'm so compelled by it. I'm like, this guy is such a moron. He's so bad at this.
Carl, I'm so embarrassed to admit this, but yesterday I actually kept track of his super chats. He made $226.
All right. Righteous buck. Good for
Stutro
him.
has replaced the post-show jam recently in the last couple weeks, and I've been down here editing, and I just hear big laughs from upstairs.
And there's so many drops in there too. Oh my God, they just never. You could take 50 drops from every show.
Well, he's constantly singing songs and creating songs. Like on the show today, he started making up songs. I'll play about my show this week for sure. They're so bad. He's so bad at improvising and singing, and he loves himself. It's great.
Yeah, he's really full. He's more full of himself than ever, I think. I think he's convinced that everyone truly is trying to leech off his greatness and fame by criticizing him, and that it makes him more valuable because other people are making money off him. He's just determined that this is a compliment.
Yeah, he says that he's the only one with talent in what we call the Dabbleverse, all the different shows that talk about Stuttering John and stuff like that. And so, yeah, he's the only one with talent. He's the GOAT. He's the reason why all of these shows exist. He doesn't realize that if he weren't so ridiculously bad at this, we wouldn't have anything to make fun of.
Yes. Although you are just a loser. He must have called you a loser 6 times yesterday.
Losers.
At least.
Well, he likes to say, he makes up a lot of things about me. He likes to say that I'm poor, and the reason why I'm poor is because I'm renting out my second home in Florida when I'm not there.
Yeah. No, that's pretty strange. Getting someone to pay
people
your
have been
mortgage.
pointing out to him, like that's what you do when you buy a second home. You make it a rental property. That's how a lot of people make a lot of wealth. Is buying,
yeah, well, but
buying real estate.
poverty is a huge issue in America. All these people have second homes. All these poor people, they just have 2 homes all over the place.
Yeah, with people paying their mortgage.
Fuck
too,
is he
and
talking
building
about?
up
Anybody
equity.
can rent it and poop all over the walls.
Yeah, I know.
Jesus.
He keeps talking about how he's like, maybe I'll rent your house and my hemorrhoids will explode in your bed. I'm like,
Wait, so you have hemorrhoids? What are you talking
Oh, he's
about?
proud of his hemorrhoids.
He was accused recently of shitting on someone's sheets. I won't even tell the whole story. And John says, this is a lie, being defamed. I have had hemorrhoids explode and blood on sheets, but I've never shit in anybody's sheets. But he always brings up the hemorrhoids. Maybe I bled in some sheets, but that's it.
yeah, It's more embarrassing, John. He literally said, he goes, I've had hemorrhoids explode and bleed through my underpants and my jeans. And I'm like, and this is your defense for people saying you might have shit the bed?
One time.
This is more embarrassing.
You might have shit the bed one time, but you have hemorrhoids explode all the time. What are you talking about?
What the woman said was, because she was in a hotel room and he was there too, and she made him sleep in the tub, and she goes, I don't know if he didn't wipe his ass or what happened, but he got streaks all over the sheets. So that's what she said about him. He's so upset about that. So,
but I don't know why does he, every time he denies it, why does he have to mention the hemorrhoids that have exploded time after time? I don't think that accentuates the story in any way.
He's a moron. It's unbelievable.
Gross.
All right. So John on his show yesterday had a guest. He had Kristen Casey, who used to be with Joe Walsh. And she's got a book out, and she's promoting this book.
Oh, no.
At the end of the interview, this is my my track number 11 here. At the end of the interview, John's upset that he didn't get one of the books so that he could help her promote it.
Rock Monster, My Life with Joe Walsh by Kristen Casey, and my
Please send
website.
me a signed copy because I'll show it on the.
I will. I'll double check with my assistant. I don't know what happened, but if I'll see if it got returned or why that didn't go out. But I promise you, I'll get on that. My website, you can go to.
I love that he says right there, he goes, and send me a signed copy because then I can show it. Like, why do you need a signed copy? A.
Yeah.
And B, what you say is send me a book so I can read it. See, this is the thing, John. When you interview someone who has a book out, you want to read it so you can talk to them about the book, idiot.
Well, not to mention he's asking to show it while she is showing the book.
Right. She's got the book right there. And also, John, this isn't a major platform for her where we got to send books out to Leno. We got to send books out to Stuttering John Melendez. Like, no one's going to buy the book based on this interview. No one sees this stuff.
Okay, this may be a really dumb question, but I'm dying to know, if this didn't happen, I'll be shocked. How soon into the interview did John ask if he's mentioned in the book?
Oh, no, worse than that. The other thing that John always does is he always wants to go out for drinks whenever he has a female guest on the show.
Oh,
and she's
God.
pretty. She's very pretty.
So he says to her, when are you going to be back in LA again? All right, we can get a beer sometime. Wait, I want to see you again when you're back in LA. He's always hitting on his guests.
Oh, God.
It's so funny. Now, as they're wrapping up this interview, so we've done an hour-long interview, John finds out something he didn't know about her that he should have known. And this is just John being the dumbest person you've ever heard.
Look at that look on his face.
You can always just pause the videos.
That's what I was laughing at.
Ridiculous.
It's so great.
I mean, what do you do on the? I mean, is it just author, or do you have another job?
Oh no, I work as a coach. I'm a certified sexuality counselor, so I work as a dating and intimacy coach. So I work with men, and
John's getting hard.
You can find a lot of information on KristenCasey.com actually, but I'm a personal coach for men working on sexuality issues.
Because I just watched Meet the Parents, and now I'm watching Meet the Fockers, and
Slow down.
Gay Focker's mother is a sexuality coach.
Oh God, I've never seen it.
Played by Barbara Streisand, and she's a sexuality coach, just like you just said.
I think I saw the first one. It was so long ago, I'd forgotten about that. It's
It's just amazing how the universe all connects, isn't it? How everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Someone had her occupation that was in a movie. Oh my God!
Why not ask her questions about that occupation? That sounds interesting.
Well, also, if you Google her, just Google
Is
her
that the
name.
first thing that
you don't
pops
need to
up?
click a link to find out that's what she does for a living. And he didn't know that. But then to think that just because he's watching these 20-year-old movies over again, that's how the universe works. What?
I know. Oh my God! For some reason that made me think of when he had. Remember when he interviewed Tom Arnold, Carl?
Yes.
And Tom Arnold's describing his, being an alcoholic and the fact that he's been sober for so long. And John says, "Hey, maybe when you get over the valley sometime, we can have a beer together." and Tom says, "John, I'm an alcoholic, as I said earlier." And he says, "Well, if you get over the valley, we could have a cup of coffee or something." And Tom Arnold says, "The valley, I haven't fallen that far yet, John."
See, I thought you were going to say, I was just watching Leaving Las Vegas. Have you ever seen that movie? It's about an alcoholic.
Yeah, there's somebody who drank just like you.
I was just looking in the mirror.
Yeah, Tom Arnold was great in that because he goes, "Yeah, John, maybe you weren't paying attention earlier, but I was mentioning how I had a real problem with alcohol and I'm in recovery."
And why he was so fucking excited, like what an incredible thing that your occupation would actually be in a movie I just watched. And what is he doing? He's supposed to be involved in the culture and the zeitgeist of what's going on as a writer for Jay Leno, and he's never seen Meet the Fockers or Meet the Parents. That's ridiculous.
He's been talking about that a lot lately too. Whenever he watches a movie that we've all seen, he discusses it for weeks at a time. Like, okay, it's fine.
Like it's a brand new movie.
Right. Like we're supposed to go out and see it again. Okay, so right after the interview, John's internet's not working. I mean, it is.
Oh, Carl.
But it's not.
As someone watching the whole show every day for the last few days, his internet is going out a lot.
Yes.
He'll just have a
freezes
blank
up
screen,
lot.
and he always goes to, yeah, I got to do something about this. I got to take it in. I just haven't had time yet.
Yeah, so I think it's his computer is the problem. I think he's got an old shitty computer that's not working for him. Yeah. So John decides he's going to get up and restart the internet. I sped this up so I don't have to watch this in real time. We're going to see what he puts out as a show. This is the guy who makes fun of me and says I don't have a show.
I'm going to go try and restart my internet. So hold on a second. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this thing.
I cranked the volume here so you can hear what he's saying.
Fucking. What is it, unplugged again, this motherfucker? No. No. No lights. Reset. That's all plugged in.
Talking to himself.
Why would you not put
That's
on
plugged in.
an unedited version of this?
That is
Or an edited version?
How many things does he have to check if it's plugged in or not? There's usually two things.
fucking irritating, man, is what it is.
Sped up. I think my favorite part too is the picture behind him on the green screen.
Yeah.
He was sitting in front of the watermark, so you can't see that he lifted it off the internet. See the watermark?
Not even
there,
high res.
I didn't see
See, did you see it now? The watermark?
Yes.
He was right where he was sitting.
Listen to his labored breathing.
Oh my god.
All right,
So widget.
let's see now. Let's see if this works. Hold on, let me see. Still not working. Still not working. This fucking thing.
It's working
It's
great.
amazing.
It's working great.
So this guy just last week, John said he wants to box me. He's looking to get into a boxing match with me. He got up to unplug and replug in his router, sat back down and was winded.
What exactly wasn't working there? His super chats?
No, the super chats are all working. I'm not sure what wasn't working because the show was going.
Because yeah, he was. I could
you
see
have
him.
it,
He
yeah.
walked off screen. He was there the whole time. How could stuff be unplugged if I can see him?
All right, so my next track, 14. This is what you've been seeing a lot lately, Drew, where he freezes up.
Yes.
This is great.
His hair disappears. There he is. 6x speed.
Yeah, this is his real show. This is going on.
And he's just frozen. I mean, the crawl still works
Ever
great.
give a lap dance to a celeb while dancing?
Two stuttering John.
I had to pause it there.
Yeah, he comes back in as a guest.
That is just the best right there. Him, John
Making two
split
different
screen.
faces.
All right, let's hear the rest.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah?
That's working.
Yeah? Okay.
Oh, it's frozen now.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
frozen
end.
again.
That's the end of the
His
yeah.
show is so bad, and he loves to rag on me for not being a professional. It cracks me up.
The other day when I was watching, he just disappeared from the screen completely, and the screen was bluish for about, I'd say, 5 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too is he came on the other day and he forgot to turn on his green screen, so you just see the green screen up behind him. So he's like, "Oh, that's not right." And anyone who uses the software he uses, which is StreamYard, you can see yourself before you go live.
Yeah.
I don't know why he never checks these things. He gets on, he's like, "Oh shit, what's that?" And
No.
then he was doing what you're talking about, Drew, where he's adjusting whatever that rate is that you're changing out the green screen.
Yeah.
So he's disappearing in himself. And reappearing.
His head disappears, his hair disappears, his hair comes back. I don't understand this because he is many times, especially in the last couple of weeks, he's so full of himself about he has more money than everyone. He's the biggest star of everyone. He's the only star of all the people in the Dabbleverse.
The GOAT.
So why does he not have a producer? He desperately needs a producer. He's terrible running this by himself.
It's funny you say that because he just mentioned recently that there's a guy behind the scenes that we don't know about. He's lying, of course, but he has to pretend that he does have a producer. We just haven't met him yet.
Well, then he should be so fired. It's so badly produced.
Yes.
Honestly, I couldn't believe that he went to Point Dabble Point and he just played it straight through from one point. There were no clips, and he replayed the same part a couple times. It was just ridiculous.
Oh, Drew, you're going to love what's coming up because this is the greatest thing that happened yesterday. First, let me just play my 15th clip here because this is what John's show has become. He sits there, like today's show is the same thing. He sits there, people super chat him and insult him, and he has to sit there and just read insults.
Yeah.
For 2 hours straight.
Dang Lizard, thanks for the $5. John, have you ever heard of this thing called sarcasm? Just found out what it is, but I'm not in Mensa like you. Yes, I know what sarcasm is. You can either be sarcastic or you can be facetious. Both mean the same thing.
Wait,
That's
excuse me.
smug, John. He's being a smug prick right there.
Do they mean the same thing?
They don't.
I didn't think
it's
so.
Close, but facetious is more like being flippant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so smart. God, he was so excited to find out that Phil Elmore, and how often does he call him a fat fuck, by the way? Oh, my God. He was so excited to find out that he went to Alfred University. He has this big thing about NYU like it's Harvard or something.
Yeah, no, John thinks that how intelligent you are is equal to what college you went to 40 years ago.
Exactly.
I don't know why he thinks that.
NYU.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he somehow discovered this about Phil Elmore like it's some deep, dark secret that was not meant to be known by anyone because it's so embarrassing.
Well, Muttering Jay is the one who outed everyone's colleges that they went to, and then John latched onto that. Muttering Jay is this Twitter character who has actually might be responsible for John getting fired from his substitute teaching job. He was tweeting at the LA school district and sending clips and things like that. He also used to send out clips about John's children and photos of his kids.
My kids.
And then Muttering Jay decided to switch and turn heel or face or whatever it is and decided to be John's friend. And John immediately loved him. Like as soon as Muttering Jay pretended he liked John, John's like, this guy's great.
He's on my team.
He's promoting him all the time. And now Muttering Jay just switched back again. So it just proves that John is a dumb narcissist who all you have to do is hate the same people he hates. And that's what actually leads to this final clip that is so amazing. For content, what John does, like you were saying, there's no producer. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just goes on subreddits and then just scrolls around and looks for things to play. So he goes on Shuli's Anonymous. He hates Shuli Egar of the Howard Stern, formerly of the Howard Stern. So yes, the shit way of the dues pay. So he goes on this subreddit and he sees a video, and the title of the video is Melton. Again, that's that guy. Nobody likes onions. Melton shows proof that Shuli paid for views. And this is a big controversy right now going on. That is Shuli paying for views or not? So John sees this. He's all excited.
I haven't been hungover in a long fucking time. Oh, this looks good. Oh, wait a second. Fatty Patty. Man, are you delivering something? This looks good. Oh, wait, I can't play that. Fuck. Oh, no. What? Thank God it's up there.
Naked lady.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You can't look at this fucking thing.
Hold on.
Oh, they probably just put that up, right?
Oops.
No, I don't know. All right. You are the one pathetic loser. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh boy.
All right. So let me describe what just happened. And I edited that for you guys for YouTube.
Thank you.
Someone put up a video knowing that John just goes on these Reddits and just plays things without looking at it, without curating it
Brilliant.
first. So someone made a video gave it a title that they knew John would be like, oh, what's this? Shuey's buying views and Fatty Patty's proving it. So he's playing the video, and then they just put on a chick spread eagle. Right? John's just putting porn on his YouTube channel, which is against the terms of service.
Oh, wait. Oops. Oh, nope. I don't want that. Nope.
So funny. So, I mean, brilliant move. But, people who hate Shuey hate John even more. So it's John thinks that just because they don't like Shuey, they like him. Not the case. So I sent you a tweet, Mark.
Yep.
That if you can put that up on the screen,
Yep.
this says everything you want to know about John's mentality. He's so childlike. So Mojo Buffalo says, to blame what happened yesterday on anyone other than yourself is very telling. Look at the successful people you consider peers. Can you see any of them putting out a porn I played on YouTube was actually someone else's fault tweet? And John's response is, wait, so let me get this straight. They mislabel a post so I'd click on it, but it's my fault?
Yes, it's your fault.
I watched it ahead of time,
Live
idiot.
streaming, dipshit.
It was my fault.
It's called preparation, John.
Heard.
Knowing what you're going to do.
And he just falls for it every time. I love watching his chat because people say, oh, Carl just tweeted out something about your kids, or Carl just tweeted blah, 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 blah. And be like, Carl's such a loser. He just believes it every time.
He
So
does.
stupid.
Somebody super chatted him something about, why do you come down on Shuley for being a shitware when you were forced to clean the shit off Howard's boots?
Yes.
And so John then claims that I didn't clean them. I just put them in water in front of his door, or something like that, which is like, no, I think that is more offensive to be told to clean Howard's shitty boots than to weigh shit from a contest.
Right. Yeah. So what basically happened was they found this old footage from the E Network.
Yes.
Where John was told on air, Howard's looking at him, was like, you got to clean this shit off my boots, John. You got to go do this. And then the cameras follow John cleaning off Howard's shitty boots. And so someone asked him the next day, hey, John, did you ever clean the shit off Howard's boots? And John goes, I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think I just put them in water. That's all I did.
I don't know. I don't know about that. It's like, no, we all saw it. It's on TV, dummy.
But honestly, I've never heard anyone reference their past jobs as often as John does. It's incredible. He thinks these credits, they're good credits, but it's just amazing. I don't know anyone living in the past like that. It's so pathetic. But
Someone said today to him, they go, John, most people don't live in the past. Most people, past accomplishments don't really mean that much. He goes, oh, really? What about the Yankees' 27 World Series championships? Like, he's comparing himself to the Yankees over a 100-year time span. Not the same thing, dummy.
Not only that, people aren't that happy about the Yankees right now.
I was going to say, I don't think Yankee fans are running around going, 27 World Series. No, they're pissed off at the team now.
No, he's such an idiot. He's been making fun of me. He says I'm a loser because I like the Bills and the Cubs. So
yeah.
John is connecting in his head. He's like, that's how you know Carl's a loser, because he likes all the losers. So
Right.
that's proof that he's
Good one.
a loser.
Good one.
Right, so everyone who's a Cleveland Cavaliers fan is a loser.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then someone pointed out to him that the Cubs have won a World Series more recently than the Yankees have. That doesn't matter.
No, he went to great lengths to point out how the Bills are so bad and how they're so much worse than the Giants, and therefore you're a loser and he's not. And it's like, what the?
Transitive
the team
property,
you root
Drew.
For?
Yeah.
What?
Transitive property, man.
And also ragging on
bet?
Rochester, so much about its
Armpit of New York.
the armpit of New York. That douche Carl from the armpit of New York, Rochester, where the crime rate is high.
John likes to think that I'm, obsessed with him and thinking about him all the time. He admitted on his show the other day when he was watching the Monday night game, the Bills and the Broncos, he won 2 beers in a bet because he bet against the Bills. And he was celebrating every time the Broncos score because he knew that it would make me upset. Like, who's watching
wow.
football
Weird.
thinking about a guy who goofs on them on the internet? Like, oh, good.
This
I bet
guy,
he's pissed
that guy
off.
right there.
That's the guy.
Oh my God.
That's it.
I've never been able to watch him directly, Carl. Somehow you guys have made him more interesting directly by the back and forth. There's just enough that goes on to keep me interested. But generally, I have to wait till you cut the clips down because he will bore me because he's waiting for. He really is only doing the show for super chats. Isn't that the only reason he's really doing it?
Yeah.
Correct, because he puts zero prep into it, so he's just waiting for people to super chat him. And I gotta say, he finally learned something today. He's been yelling at the super chatter named Broccoli.
Yeah.
This guy's super chats MLC Kevin Brennan show, and he'll give him $50 or something, and then he'll give John $2 or $5. He'll be like, "Broccoli, what do you give to Kevin Brennan? You could be super chatting me more money than." Finally today, he goes, "You know what? I shouldn't have said that. Give me whatever you think is right, Broccoli."
You know, you see the same super chatters over and over on these shows. I'm amazed. These people must have some money to spend.
Yeah, there's this guy named David Chandler who is all over all these shows. He's giving $100 at a time. He's buying gift subscriptions for people that are hundreds of dollars. I met him at DabbleCon in Rochester back in February, and he claimed to be a farmer. But these people must be just multimillionaires. It's crazy.
There's got to be some people making money in there because honestly, I see some people super chat John 5 or 6 times in the show. I was actually keeping track.
Yes.
Like Sodomy and the couple others, they super chat and super chat and super chat. And, you know, as long as he's happy that he's making a living, it seems to me he's, although he got in a debate over whether he was making $5,000 a month or less or more. So I think it's around, it sounds to me like it's around $4,000 a month is my guess based on what I'm seeing. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds about right, which is probably a good month for him, making $4,000.
Yeah.
But he's got an apartment in LA and a house in Florida. So I don't know if that's the right salary you need for that sort of thing.
He
That's my mom's house.
He has to be berated nonstop to make it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Okay. Great stuff today, Carl. I'm
Thank
excited.
you. And I noticed in the show prep, because I always read the show prep,
Thanks.
You're right.
that you saw Laura Juicy TV's new boobs.
Yes.
We sure did.
Did you guys talk about that on the show yet?
Yes.
Yeah. She went from a C to a triple D.
Yeah, that was on your and Mike's show, wasn't it?
I did. I happened to find that. So on Who Are These Socials? Because we play Laura Juicy TV on her TikTok farting into things. And then I noticed on her Instagram that she was showing off her new boobs. I didn't see the tweet that she put out that you put in the prep. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But God, am I crazy to say that triple D's is just a little bit too big?
I thought so. I thought she had nice
She looked
breasts.
better before, yeah.
They look
Naturally.
terrible.
Yeah, they not so good.
What's wrong with having C cups? They looked really good.
Yeah, they were fine. They were great. I know. Now, also, I don't care how big her boobs are. This girl farts on the internet for a living. I'm not a turn on.
Thank you.
Well, she's in OnlyFans too, isn't she?
I believe so.
Oh, is she? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But you and Mike had a great show, a crossover show for WATP, I believe it was yesterday, about Julia Fox's new book, and you got the audio book, and that was, wow. That's what
God, I
a
hate
pile of material that is. And I guess, are you going to go through the whole book eventually?
Yeah, it's 10 and a half hours long, this audiobook. I got through the first 25 minutes for our first show.
No, it was
and
gold.
I had to apologize to Drew because I was using his terminology on this one. There are so many whoppers in this book.
It's the only
None of
word
it
that
is
works.
plausible.
And a stupid question, but she reads it, right? Please tell me she
Yes.
reads it. Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah, and one thing, when you were talking about how poor she was, and she said she was walking on cold marble floors, and I was like, wouldn't marble floors be something wealthy people had?
She must have run out that house. She's so poor.
They couldn't turn on the heat because they needed to save on both gas and electricity, which I didn't understand. And then she said that in the summertime when it was really hot, they couldn't turn on the fan because that would use too much electricity.
What?
Do you know how much electricity a fan uses?
No, she's so full of shit. I mean, I would think it sounds like no one even edited the book or even paid attention to what she wrote and even made suggestions. It sounds like it's just her spitting out whatever she felt like spitting out. It's ridiculous, but it was great listening.
She said her grandfather reused paper towels. He would wash them off and then hang them to dry to reuse paper towels. It's a whopper.
No, she's so full of shit. And to even think that she is worthy of an autobiography at age 33, she's done nothing. She did Uncut Gems. She was Josh Safdie's muse.
I was Josh Safdie's muse when he wrote Uncut Gems.
Right.
And she dated Kanye for a month. What else has she done?
Why Mike pointed that out. He goes, this book should have started with banging Kanye. Because here we're talking about she's 6 years old in Manhattan, and it's going on and on with all these details. Like, who cares? Move on.
No, it's terrible, but great show for you guys.
Thank you.
So anyway, what's coming up this week? What's your next program?
Well, if you check out our show that's currently up there, it's the Big Fat Gay Podcast. It's a show about gay chubby chasers.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. This guy and his boyfriend are on the show. And you think chubby chaser, like, oh, what is he, like 280? Is he, what is he, 260 or something? This guy's over 500 pounds.
Oh God.
I'm not even sure how that works. So that was fascinating. So check that out. That's a lot of fun. And then this week coming up, I've been trying a new thing, a new format, where I pick a podcast category and I tell Trucker Andy and Lucy Tightbox, find a show, pull clips, and then we'll each present our shows. We'll figure out who brought the worst show. We'll let people vote. So we did this last week with Society and Culture.
Which is the worst category?
Did Lucy win week 1?
Lucy Tightbox won by a landslide.
I voted for her.
Okay, yeah. She brought a really bad show. So that was good. And then this week, we are doing TV and film is the category.
Oh, okay. Well, that's got a wide range there.
So, yeah, we'll see. I think that'll be fun.
All right, Carl. Thanks so much. That was great.
Guys, thank you. Go Lions, my new favorite football team. We're going to take down the Packers on Thursday.
You know it.
Can't wait.
Have a great holiday.
Take care, Carl.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving. See you.
Thanks, Carl.
Guys.
All right. Oh, John. I go through these things where I'm like, oh, gee, is it really right to
Yes.
make fun of this guy?
Yes.
But he's so incredibly unaware, and
Well, not to mention
narcissism is just raging.
and he's not very nice the other way. He wouldn't give a shit.
That is slanderous.